Hello, everyone. I have officially picked a launch date for Gabriella Rebranded, the podcast. As you know, a little delayed. We were supposed to launch at the beginning of January, but the California wildfires happened. And as previously announced, while thousands of others were gathering their own trauma, this is a podcast about trauma and trauma survivors. It would have been so inauthentic to my mission, which is to bring people peace, especially trauma survivors, to talk about my own trauma during that and not being directing our attention, our supportive energies, our good thoughts, just everything we could to the victims of the California fires. So that was just not the time, and I was absolutely not going to launch, purely inauthentic to my mission. However, I assumed I would launch sometime in February, but then something was revealed to me. I was still recording episodes with guests. I've still been recording, like it's currently February, my episodes with guests, because I'm so appreciative of my guests and I don't want to mess with their schedules and be like, sorry, I know we planned this weeks ago, but actually it's canceled. I don't want to do that and then not get them to come back. So I'm still recording episodes with guests. And one of my guests was Reverend astrologer Danny Santos of Danny Santos and the Crystal Visions. You can find him on Instagram. He's an ayahuasca shaman. He is a life coach, a spiritual healer. That episode's going to be really, really good. So he asked me if I'd picked a specific launch date, and I was like, I don't know, sometime in February. The universe will tell me when. And he was like, oh, well, not before February 23rd. And I was like, why? What's going on till February 23rd? And he was like, Mars retrograde and you're in Aries. That's primarily affecting you. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars retrograde can cause internal conflicts. It interferes with one's ability to take decisive action, which you obviously need when you're launching a podcast. And it can make it hard to gain momentum due to all the chaos that Mars retrograde is creating. But it doesn't end there. The stars and the planets do be wildin' for the beginning of 2025. So obviously when Danny told me that, I said, fuck no, we're going to avoid that. I'm not launching during Mars retrograde. And he was like, you know what? Let's set a call with me and pick a specific launch date because you're basically picking the birth chart for a podcast. And I was like, great. And lo and behold, after Mars retrograde ends, we go into Venus retrograde. Venus rules Libra. And Venus retrograde can lead to problems in audience engagement. It can lead to problems in brand partnerships, brand development, just all how your audience is perceived, how your project is perceived by the world. But then, during Venus retrograde, we go into the infamous Mercury Gatorade. And that, which you all probably know, primarily messes with communication. So technical difficulties are very common during Mercury retrograde, as well as marketing, promoting, listener engagement. All that can be negatively affected. What I also found out from Danny is that your girl was born during Mercury retrograde. So it hits me extra hard. Over, the past few years, there have been times Mercury retrograde always slams me. It always messes up something, brings some form of chaos. And there was a time a few months ago where one of my friends says, I feel like this Mercury retrograde stuff only happens to you. And then sure enough, in my episode with Danny, what you'll see, I was born during Mercury retrograde, so it hits me extra hard. Mercury retrograde partially messes with me more than other people who weren't born during Mercury retrograde. So, Mercury retrograde ends on April 7th, but then there was a bit of a hangover, a post-retrograde for a few days. And this has led to me officially deciding to launch Gabriella Rebranded, the podcast, on April 15th at 11 a.m. Pacific. That is a Tuesday, which is the best day to release a podcast. It also happens to be the day after my 27th birthday. So like me, my podcast will be in Aries Sun. It happens to be a Scorpio moon that day. Very powerful placement, and also my placement. So it'll be a Scorpio moon like me. It will be a Cancer rising. I'm a Sagittarius rising, but my life coach is a Cancer rising, which is perfect, even better. She is helping me grow. So that's what the point of this podcast is, to help people grow. April 15th, 11 a.m. Pacific. And this is also a really celebratory healing moment for me because after a brain injury, the brain has a need for a schedule. It's reliant on a schedule. When I first got hurt and I was in the hospital, I would say things because like I couldn't walk at this point. So my mom, my brother, my dad, whoever was visiting sounds so fun. It was not fun, but whoever was there would have to push me to the bathroom in my wheelchair. And I would say like, I'm going to go to the bathroom at 3:00. Or actually, I couldn't say, I would like try to type, I'm going to go to the bathroom at 3:00. And whoever would be like, well, do you have to go now? And I'd be like, no. It's 2:53. I will go in 7 minutes at 3:00. Like the brain like needs a schedule. And then when I got out of the hospital, and inpatient rehab, my brain still kind of really wanted that schedule, and last minute plan changes and schedule changes would always like really upset me, which was terrible because plan changes happen more often than they don't, and they're usually not done with malicious intent. If they are done with malicious intent, that person's a fucking asshole. Stop talking to them. But every time somebody changed plans or canceled last minute, my brain would take it as like a personal attack. And I would have to work so hard to show that I wasn't upset with them. Like, cause I knew it was a weird thing to be upset about, but my brain was upset and I would have to work so hard. With this podcast delay, and it's been very delayed by unexpected things, I've just been rolling with it. I've just been okay. Like, I've just been like, all right, like not deciding to launch till April when I thought I was launching at the beginning of January. Like, okay, like that's fine. I will release this when the universe is ready for me to release it. This project, this journey has been so supported by the universe. I'm not restricting. I am listening. That's what I do now. I listen to the universe. Our perception is truly our reality. And I am choosing to perceive this as a blessing, not a curse. This extra time gives me time to plan a really sick launch party for the night of April 15th, which I'm doing and so excited to do. I'm changing my logo, which changes my podcast album cover art. It changes my merch. It changes everything. Only minor. Overall, we love the logo. I'm making very minor changes, but I'm changing my logo slightly. I have time to make sure that, I can be my neurotic self and go through every episode and make sure it's exactly the way I want it. Nick, my editor, is probably going to start to hate me because I'm going to be like, can we add this to this episode? Actually, let's add this here. I already know that there's like a little thing I want him to add to every episode. But yeah, this is great. This is such a gift, this delay. And I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, now we have more time for the excitement to build, even though it's already been building to the point where it's probably not excitement anymore, but now we can recharge the excitement. So yes, Gabriella rebranded Tuesday, April 15th, 11 a.m. Pacific, win most, lose some. This was a very, 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 very minuscule loss. It's mainly a giant fucking win, and I'm really excited to share it with you all.